My paper is on the negative effects increases in class size has had on the American education system by creating learning environments that lack efficiency and quality and create a substantial gap in student engagement and success. The issue is increases in class size, and this is caused by increases in student populations for school districts, and it has caused schools to have an imbalance where the student population is much greater than the teacher population. This has had negative impacts in the classroom and a school's ability to provide safe and quality programs for their students. It's led to things like it's impacted learning, it's caused lower test scores, and it's produced decreases in graduation rates, to name a few of the issues. The ideal classroom size is anywhere between 13 and 17 students. The closer we get to 13, the better. So ideally, we're on the lower end of those numbers. And that's for just about all grade levels. Smaller classroom size, gives the teacher the opportunity to really individualize lesson plans, to really get to know their students, and to help them find success. So these two charts compare classroom sizes. The first chart is classroom sizes in California. Something I want you to keep in mind looking at both of these charts is that average classroom sizes mean that you're taking the average of different numbers. So some of the classrooms may be bigger. Between California and in the United States, you might have some classrooms that have 28, 30 students, 32, and you may have some classrooms that have 18, 19, 20 students. So the averages are, after you add all of those numbers together and you divide it by the number of classes you're adding, you get these averages. So kindergarten has an average of about 22 students. When you get to fourth grade, you have about 27. When you get to sixth grade, and it's still 27. As you get into high school, the averages go up to about 30 to 32, depending on the class. So these are some averages that you see here in California, which are very similar throughout the United States. The second chart is class sizes globally. And I show you this because I want you to have a good idea, and I want you to see where the United States stands globally. So we are amongst some of the top ranked and highest number in class sizes, but by no means are we the only ones who have large class. Are we the only country that has large class sizes? You can see Chile is over Korea, Japan, Chile and Korea are over 30. You have Japan and Turkey and Brazil, which are between 25 and 30 students per class. So these are just some averages to give you an idea of what classroom sizes look like globally. Is classroom size really to blame? Smaller classes allow our teachers to have the time and the ability to really individualize and create programs that are a little more student-centered, or that's the idea. But obviously, if we, going back to the charts that we saw before, we are not the only country that has large class sizes. So if classroom size is the biggest issue, that everybody would suffer from the same results. Their education systems would suffer similarly to how we feel ours has. How and what did they do to continue to improve their education system so their education system didn't suffer? And that's what we need to look at, the global implications of classroom sizes. Although we have larger classroom sizes, we do not differ greatly from other developed nations around the world who've found success in international testing. In Shanghai, China, classrooms have approximately 48 students, but they scored the highest on the Program for International Student Assessment, also known as PISA, in 2012 in mathematics. So what are they doing in China, in Shanghai, China, that we can learn from here? Well, Finland and China both use similar intervention methods and engaging methods to engage their students in learning. They intervene when a student struggles right from the beginning. Here in the United States, in a high school math class, students are not engaged until they're at a failing point. students are not the intervention doesn't happen until a student is already at a failing point where they won't pass the class without some sort of intervention. In Finland and China, this intervention happens right away when maybe the concept, you can see that the concept isn't being fully grasped and they don't have that mastery before moving on to the next concept in a mathematics class. The intervention happens right away. And the other thing is they really work to engage their students. And they do this with, they do this as a class, they learn together, they move on together. So those are some differences. In the Netherlands has found success because they've created an education system that caters to the well-being of a child by using a child-centered approach that cares for the emotional, cognitive, and social needs of that individual child. And that whole child-centered approach really caters to what they need and how they will better learn the material and information that we're trying to give them. So these are some different and global ways that countries are dealing and handling their education systems that are a little bit different than what we're doing here. So what we need to do is we need to change the mindset because decreasing classroom sizes may not really be an option. Some areas may have the funding and they may be able to do that, but the reality is that the funding may not be available. Populations are continuing to increase, so student numbers are going to continue to increase. School availability may not be there, and numbers of teachers, of qualified teachers, may also not be available. So there's a lot that goes into just being able to decrease classroom size that may not be quite plausible for every area in America. So what are our solutions? Well, one is to incorporate more professional trainings and certificates for our teachers because effective teachers are always learning. We expect that of our students. We should expect that of our teachers. We should expect that from every profession because when you stop learning, you become stagnant. Teachers need to learn classroom management, organization, and organizational skills to be effective and maintain quality environments for education. So training should be geared towards this. It should be geared towards these types of trainings, and we should have trainings and certificates that continue their education in their fields. When you get to subject specific teachers, like in high school or middle school, teachers who teach math, teachers who teach science, they should have professional trainings and certificate programs that allow them to continue to immerse themselves and master their topics and their subjects. But we should also train teachers in technology because we should begin to incorporate more technology into the classroom so that our classrooms do not become obsolete and we keep our students engaged instead of fighting technology and making them put it away all the time and not allowing them to utilize technology to its fullest. We can bring technology into the classroom and really engage the students in learning with it. Another solution is to change teaching methods. We need to change what is not working. Sitting, watching a teacher, listening to what the concept is, watching them solve a problem, giving our students problems to solve as they sit quietly with the rest to do it is not working. In China, students are being engaged by using whole class interactions. They're encouraged to think outside the box and make and find new solutions, and they're taught to master the information. One of my pet peeves when I was in school was I would research. If I didn't understand something my math teacher had shown me, I would do research to find how to solve the problem. I'd find a different way to solve the problem. I'd be able to apply it. I would totally understand it. I'd do that on a test and I would get marked wrong because I didn't show my work the way that the teacher had wanted me to show my work. I was using something creative, something innovative, but I was being punished in essence because I wasn't doing it the exact way. This is the mindset that we need to change, and we need to change those teaching methods. We should be encouraging students to think outside the box and to find solutions and not discouraging that behavior. We also need to allow our students to fail. And this is part of life. These are life lessons. School encompasses more than just what we read in a textbook. Allowing students to fail, we need to allow them to make mistakes and to learn from them because it creates individuals who can think outside the box. And this is something they'll take with them in their future careers and in their life in general. And we also need to use creative lessons to engage students. One of the articles we read talks about how we can use games to supplement education And these games, they provide good lesson plans, they should provide substance, they're level appropriate, but most importantly, they're fun. And where we struggle because of large classroom sizes is getting to know all of our students and really engaging them in the lesson plans while using games and things that children would be interested in. Even as you get older, children, high school levels children, competitive games, fun games in a controlled environment really engages them and would allow them to have a lot of fun. So class size can be the issue, but we have to be able to solve that problem. And so these are a few ways that we can solve that problem to create a better educational system for our future.